Welcome to Table Flippers Podcast, an outreach of Greater Works Christian Church here in Lancaster, California. I am your host, Robert Enos. If you like what you hear, visit us at gwcclancaster.org. That's gwcclancaster.org. Find the Table Flippers link, click on it, and you'll get to our merchandise. Now, get ready for a huge dose of truth and a huge dose of common sense. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. It's Friday, June 9th, and it's 5:02 p.m. when I'm sitting down in front of this microphone, recording this episode just for you, my favorite fans, my family, my friends, my brothers, and a few who don't care for me. But you're all welcome, and I really hope that you're enjoying these podcast episodes. I really enjoy making them. I enjoy speaking to all of you. And today I want to talk to you about something, but I want to kind of share something with you. And now this may not seem like it's a big deal, but I just want to share a little bit about my outfit that I'm wearing. I'm looking across the table and I have a baseball cap with the name of a ranch that I was at just recently. And it's camouflage, like a military camouflage. I'm wearing a drab green t-shirt that looks very much like a military t-shirt. It's not. I purchased this at an event, at a patriotic event, and it literally says Bold Patriot on it with a depiction of the American flag, all in green and black and such. I'm wearing right now some black pants that are military style. They're not military pants. They're black, but they look very much like military pants. I'm wearing them right now for one reason and one reason only. These things are comfortable, I'm telling you. They're made by Wrangler, and I just picked them up at Walmart, and they are super comfortable. But because they have that kind of military, paramilitary kind of vibe, of course I had to wear my boots with them. But they're not military boots, they're just Columbia hiking boots that are actually gray in color. And at certain angles, they almost look blue. It's a strange color, but nonetheless. Now you say, what? Why is he telling us how he's dressed? Really, I don't know. Other than this, I really have a great love and appreciation for this nation. I'm not saying I absolutely agree everything that's going on in our nation, of course, but the country itself, the land and the people, I have such a great and deep love and admiration for. So I wear some patriotic outfits, clothings and stuff, shirts, hats, things, things with the American flag, things of that nature, because just to show how much I love this nation. I wear things that look somewhat militaristic, even though I've never been in the military, but I have a great respect for the military and those who have been in the military. Now, when I say for the military, I'm not talking about a lot of the aspects of our present military because of all the woke, liberal nonsense garbage that's been creeping into the military. But the basic premise, the basic institution, and our military veterans and those who have served and are serving, great respect. My father was in the Army, right around the Korean conflict, time of the Korean conflict. My brother, Army. Let's see, who else? Oh, my son. Yes, can't forget my son. My son, Air Force, Security Forces. I have cousins that are had been in the Navy. I have friends that have been in the Navy and the Marines. Uncle that was in the Navy, World War II. My father-in-law was in the Navy, World War II. So I've been surrounded by military people from every branch of the military pretty much all my life, and I have such a great respect for each and every one of them and what they represented. And they represent the finest of what we call the United States of America. Now, I want to give you some breakdown on something. I went and searched on the internet, of course. I just typed in patriotic holidays, and took me to a website from the National Archives at Boston, and it's archives.gov, and I'll put the link up. But it just gave me a breakdown on what is called the patriotic holidays here in the United States of America. And I just want to run them down for you real quick, okay? We have Veterans Day, celebrating all who had served, and that's one day. We have Memorial Day, those who had died, especially those who had died in action, serving our nation. One day celebration for those who have passed on. We have Independence Day, July 4th. We usually just call it July 4th, but that's our Independence Day where we won our independence from Great Britain. Again, one day. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was included in patriotic holidays for what he fought for. And again, just one day. Washington's birthday popped up. And again, just one day. Flag Day, where we just celebrate, remember, and thank God for not just the piece of cloth with the stars and stripes, but what it represents. One day. Constitution Day, again, just one day. Election Day, one day. And Bill of Rights Day, just one day. So we celebrate there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different holidays that are considered patriotic holidays, and we celebrate these 9 events, concepts, ideas, and such, just one day each. So we have 9 days a year that are set aside, 9 days out of 365, unless it's a leap year, 365 days. So 9 days out of 365 days that we celebrate, and these are considered patriotic holidays. Now, of course, there's other holidays, Christmas and Resurrection Day, and things of that nature. But these are the patriotic holidays. 9 days. And when I looked at this, I've actually heard of all of these, but other than, well, let's see, we have Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Washington, for the most part, are the only ones that we really, I would say, celebrate. I've heard of them, seen them on the calendar and such, but as far as a celebration, I can't really remember or think of any real celebration that we do for the rest of them, such as Flag Day, Constitution Day, Election Day, Bill of Rights Day. And it's sad to me because we are losing our perspective on just how great this country is and what this country is supposed to be. And because we're losing that perspective, and it's not just about going out and having a picnic, say on Flag Day, that doesn't automatically make us have a great deep love and appreciation for our country, but it certainly helps. But when it's not taught in our schools, it's not celebrated, it's not something that you can go into the store and see the displays and such for Flag Day or Election Day or Bill of Rights Day. You know, on the 4th of July or Independence coming up to that, all the American flag and Americana decorations are up, and you can purchase them and decorate your house or your car or whatever. And that's cool. But like Bill of Rights Day, have you ever seen, copies of the Bill of Rights or Bill of Rights in lights or those types of things, Americana / Bill of Rights decorations? I mean, honestly, I haven't. And maybe they're there and maybe I've just been blind to it. I don't know. But not like you would think, like say Christmas or Passover, otherwise known as Easter, things of that nature. And what's really sad and sickening, Halloween. My point is, we have 9 days, 9 days only, 9 days only out of 365 that are considered patriotic holidays. We celebrate about half of them, that we can think of and everything. We do something. There's some type of remembrance. It's talked about in school or whatever. But shouldn't all 9 of those be? And shouldn't we, especially, one of the things that's always bothered me is, yes, we do celebrate Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Memorial Day has become just the day of picnics or going to the beach. And there are some Memorial Day celebrations at, say, the National Cemetery or different places in different cities, City Hall or whatever, which is so good. But I still think there should be more. I mean, remember, these are holidays and celebrations that should be about remembering and celebrating the greatness of this country. And by celebrating the greatness of the country, we should be celebrating the greatness of the people of this country above all. Because it's the people that make it great, all right? That's just the reality of it. It's the people that make it great. And then when you get to specifics, like, say, veterans, we really should be celebrating our veterans.
they should be treated as royalty on that day. When it comes to Memorial Day, where we remember those who have served this country and its military and passed on, often, on the battlefield. Shouldn't that be like one of the greatest, most solemn, sacred holidays? And if you can call it a celebration that the country could ever have? It should be right up there with 4th of July, Independence Day, because it cost the lives of Americans to win our independence. So we should be celebrating, at least in my opinion, those 2 days, Memorial Day and Independence Day, should be the 2 days that we absolutely go all out. And it doesn't have to be, even though I love the fireworks, it doesn't have to be fireworks. But my point is, it should be something where we all, as a nation, stop, and truly take a hard look at what it cost to be the greatest nation that the world has ever seen. Remember those who gave their life, shed their blood on the battlefield, so that you and I could have a barbecue, so that you and I could go to church without fear, have freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and just freedom in general. But overall, again, 9 days, ladies and gentlemen, only 9 days. And I'm praying and asking God for a resurgence of all of these patriotic holidays so that we can truly celebrate this nation, and especially the people that made this nation great, in a manner that really brings honor and respect to who they are and to what this nation is all about. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about something that absolutely just sickens me. It sickens me because I want to contrast these 9 days. And again, for the most part, we don't really celebrate these 9 days. We only celebrate what I think I counted off about 5 of them. Some, maybe a few of you out there do celebrate all 9 days, and maybe you go all out. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm talking about as a nation and what we push as a nation. 9 days. Contrast that with 30 days of LGBT, the gay Pride Month. How is it? I'm actually sitting here and absolutely disgusted, and I'm feeling sick inside. I literally am feeling sick in the pit of my stomach right now. And it's heart-wrenching and it's heartbreaking that there have been men who have died on the battlefield, literally gave their life for our freedom, for this nation, for you and I. And we'll give them one day called Memorial Day. We have men and women right now serving in the military, and we have men and women that have served in the military who willingly knew the cost, knew that they could be shipped off, knew that they could be sent over to some foreign land and never return home. And thank God they did. But we should be celebrating their day, Veterans Day. I mean, I think about them, and they get 1 day. Those who have died, 1 day. 4th of July, our Independence Day, 1 day. But homosexuals, LGBT community gets 30 days, an entire month straight. And here we are. It's, it's June 9th. We're 9 days into this. And all I see every time I open up the internet, or I open up Facebook, or I open up Instagram, is these rainbow flags and the LGBT and men dressed as women. And it's pride, pride, pride. I see that word everywhere. Pride, 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 pride. And those who really fought for this nation get 9 days. And I wouldn't even say those who fought. Really the ones who fought, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and Independence Day. Oh, we could say Martin Luther King Day because his life was taken from him. So there's 4 days of people who gave themselves up for this nation. And yet gays and homosexuals get 30 days to celebrate their sexual choice. Now, there was somebody who posted some or commented on one of my posts that, because I just asked the question on Facebook, what do they have to be proud of? What do homosexuals and LGBT community have to be proud of? What did they do that they deserve 30 days of pride? What did they do? Because usually, pride comes after you've accomplished something great. So what do these homosexuals accomplish that was so great that gives them 30 days of pride and forces the rest of us to at least acknowledge 30 days of pride? And I'm still trying to sit here and going, okay, they got 30 days of pride. What did they do deserving of even one day of pride. And I can't think of anything. And so this knucklehead, he answers and basically says, well, it's not about their sexual orientation. It's about the things they've accomplished. Like there was a homosexual that helped win World War II. Well, great, wonderful. There was a homosexual that did this and did that. And they pointed out all these things that certain homosexual people did. I'm going to go, great. So instead of celebrating their sexual identity, why aren't we celebrating their accomplishment that actually helps somebody? Because your sexual identity, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't help anybody. Well, let me put it this way. I'm sorry. Your homosexuality doesn't help anybody, because homosexuality cannot produce even the next generation. Only heterosexuals engage in heterosexual behavior can produce the next. So in that regard, there's at least an accomplishment of keeping the human race alive. But the homosexual can't even say that, can't even claim that. So why are we celebrating their sexual orientation, their sexual choices, and their sexual preferences instead of their real world accomplishment that benefited mankind? Does that make sense? Because that's the way it works in the quote unquote straight world. Nobody's ever celebrated my straightness. And I don't want anybody to. That's just sick and that's weird. I don't need that. I didn't do anything spectacular to be straight. I just didn't have a mental illness. Woohoo! 30 days of non-mental illness pride. Hey, maybe we should start that one, huh? Anyways, but if I did something, if I accomplished something, invented something, built something that benefited mankind, celebrate the accomplishment, not the sexual orientation of the person who accomplished. This is absolutely ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. So let's back up the truck. Let me give you an idea. So you take a gentleman, let's take a gentleman right now, and he happens to be a homosexual or transgender, whatever you want to call him. He's not straight. Let's just put it that way. But he can develop, say, the cure for cancer. Let's assume for just a moment that this gentleman who is a homosexual develops a cure for cancer. After everybody gets saved from cancer and cancer is no longer an issue and the world wants to celebrate because there's no more cancer because this guy developed the cure for cancer. It would be absolutely ridiculous to then start a gay pride day because of that. How about just simply cancer-free day? We can prop this human being up and celebrate his accomplishment. His sexuality would have nothing to do with it. There's nothing to be proud of by who you go to bed with in that regard. Now take the straight guy. Same scenario, but this time the guy's straight. Develops a cure for cancer, no more cancer in the world, we don't have to worry about it. Now we all want to celebrate that the world's cancer-free. Here's what would happen if the guy's straight. We would have cancer-free celebration day, and it would be one day. But if the guy happened to be a homosexual, we're not going to celebrate the fact that there's no more cancer. We're going to celebrate the fact that he was gay, and we're going to do it for a whole month. Do you see how twisted and perverted that is? That now they get a whole month to celebrate not any of their accomplishments, but the fact that they came out of the closet. As a matter of fact, there were so many people say, they're just so brave. He came out of the closet. So brave? So brave? Where's the bravery in that? Where's the bravery in being a homosexual? Where's the bravery in being LGBT? Where's the bravery in a man putting on a dress? I asked that question and somebody said, you have no idea what it's like to be a transgender in this world. You could lose your life. Take off the freaking dress and nobody would even know and nobody would even care. And it's not even that. It's not even about a man putting on a dress. Quit shoving it down everybody's throat. Quit shoving it down our children's throat and nobody would care. You guys keep acting like there's mobs of people out in the street ready to hunt you down and kill you. And that is not the case. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, the LGBT community is some of the biggest hypocrites and liars that this nation has ever seen. How do I know? Because they're the ones crying and complaining and saying that their life is on the line. There's people that want to kill them. And yet they are the very ones that are breaking into schools such as in Tennessee and shooting 6 people, 3 of them children. And then when a LGBT homosexual nightclub gets blasted, somebody walks in there and starts shooting, the initial knee jerk, oh, it must be a right winger. It turned out to be another LGBT dude who was mad at something and went down there and shot up his own. Why is that happening? Because it's all tied to mental illness. I'm sorry. I'm not going to celebrate 30 days of mental illness. Call it what it wants. You could be proud of your mental illness. I'm not. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. Who should we be celebrating for 30 days? How about those who have fallen on the battlefield in a foreign land fighting so that we could even have this conversation? Who else should we be celebrating? The veterans who went, joined up, signed up, went through the training, left home, left the comforts of home, knowing full well that they could be deployed, shipped off, and die somewhere, but they still willingly did that. That's who we should be celebrating. Who else should we be celebrating? We should really celebrate our Independence Day. That should be an Independence Month. Why? Because so many people died on the battlefield fighting for our freedom from Great Britain. That was at that point the launching point for the greatest nation this world has ever seen. Who else should we be celebrating? Martin Luther King. Why does he only get one day? When he gave his life to fight for the freedom of not just black Americans, but all Americans. Because the reality of it is, in America, whether you guys like it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you feel like it or not, when one group of people is oppressed, truly oppressed, all of us are oppressed. Now, I don't claim that white people were in the oppression, the same type of oppression as black people, not at all. But we are all Americans. There's no such thing as black America. There's America. There's no such thing as white America. There's America. And even though the homosexual LGBT community wants it to be the LGBT America, there's no such thing. We should all be standing together, fighting together, and celebrating accomplishments, not our sexual preferences. This is ridiculous and disgusting. And I know you guys, I really don't try to get on here and be too political, at least always. But I did a little research. And actually, the gay Pride Month or Gay Pride goes all the way back to actually the late 60s, early 70s. But it was actually President Bill Clinton that really kind of put it on the national stage, and made it like, hey, we need to celebrate. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I did not have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. But we're going to celebrate Pride Day. Yeah, Pride Week, Pride Month. Yeah, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. And then Obama comes along. And actually makes it kind of like an official thing for 30 days. So you have two very left-leaning Democrats that push this perversion on the American people. And it's not just perversion in that sense of sexuality. Perversion when you put that rainbow-colored flag for 30 days in a place that should be honoring our veterans, those who have died on the battlefield, those who have fought for our independence, and such great Americans such as Martin Luther King Jr. We should be celebrating the Bill of Rights. We should be celebrating the Constitution, our flag, and we should be celebrating a lot longer than sexual orientation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a straight dude. I am heterosexual. I do not want heterosexual Pride Month or day or minute because I did nothing. I accomplished nothing to be heterosexual. I just don't suffer from a mental illness. That's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. There's something broken in these people, and we're celebrating their brokenness instead of getting them the help that they desperately need. This is what's so sickening about all of this. Bill Clinton, shame on you. Every liberal, every Democrat, shame on you. Obama, I always thought of Obama as one of the worst presidents I ever saw. Worst presidents I ever had to live through. Now, of course, it's Biden. But Obama certainly was one of the most perverted and disgusting, pushing something like this on the American people. This is one reason why, ladies and gentlemen, places such as Target and Bud Light and all these places that are going quote unquote woke with all of this LGBT nonsense, they're suffering because the American people finally had enough. They lose a father, a grandfather, an uncle, or a brother on the battlefield, and he gets one day, but some dude who puts on a dress gets a whole month? How perverted and disgusting, and what a slap in the face by these Democrat liberal presidents and just Democrats in general, and all of these fruitcakes in their dresses What a slap in the face. How disgusting. How disrespectful. How dishonoring. We have men that have died on the battlefield and they get 1 day of remembrance. But some dude dancing around in a dress gets a month. How disrespectful. How disgusting. What a perversion. It doesn't matter what you feel about homosexuality. You might think that it's a sin, and the worst, grossest sin. You might think it's not a sin. That's irrelevant for this discussion. But what is very relevant is they did nothing to deserve 30 days of celebration. Yet the guy that gave his life on the battlefield, that Marine, that the one that was in the Army, the one that was in the Navy, the one that was in the Air Force, gave up his life fighting so you and I can have these types of conversations. Some of them didn't make it home. Some of them are only remembered in that black and white flag that says POW. Some of them still have never made it home. But you get some dude who puts on a dress and some makeup, and he gets 30 days of celebration, and it's forced upon us. It's forced upon us. It's forced upon our school children. It's forced in the businesses. It's forced, right now, even in LA County, the Board of Supervisors has forced all the fire departments, the fire stations, and the sheriff stations to fly the LGBT flag for Pride Month. But I can drive by on any given day and I don't see a POW flag flying. And I don't know, am I the only one that is this frustrated and this angry over this? Am I the only one? I'm not, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am not one to really cry that often. I do. I have emotions. I just don't cry a lot. There are a few things that bring me to tears. This brings me to tears, but not out of grief and pain. It brings me to tears out of complete and total anger. And I know I'm not the only one. Right now, I'm speaking to a lot of hearts and a lot of minds. And ladies and gentlemen, how is this happening? Let me tell you why. Because there's so few willing to even say anything, let alone do anything about it. We have our sheriff's department with the LGBT flag flying. How is it? And I'm just asking this question. How is it that any one of our deputies went to work as long as that's flying? That LGBT flag is flying over all the fire departments, fire stations. How is it that one fireman or fire person, went to work how could they serve under that flag? There's places that have removed the American flag and replaced it with the LGBT flag. How can anybody go to work there or go to buy something in those stores, in those shops? Are you American or not? And it's not even, again, how you feel about homosexuality or LGBT community. You might be all for it. But if you're honest, and that's the key, ladies and gentlemen, if you're honest, you have to at least admit that just because they're gay or a man in a dress or a woman with a butch haircut, that doesn't qualify for 30 days of celebration. They did not do anything. They did not accomplish anything to benefit the rest of us simply by buzzing their hair, putting on a dress, or snuggling up to somebody of the same sex. That's not much of an accomplishment deserving 30 days of celebration. Do you know how many days they deserve a celebration? Zero. Nobody celebrates me because I have a short haircut. Nobody celebrates me because I actually married a woman. Nobody celebrates me because, I put pants and a t-shirt on this morning. Yes, thank you. And I don't expect anybody to celebrate me because that's not an accomplishment worthy of celebration. But the person that died on the battlefield, the person that joined the military because he has a passion and a love for this country and was willing to lay down his life, that's who should be celebrated. The fact that we won the Revolutionary War, that should be celebrated. The fact that MLK, Martin Luther King Jr., stood up against insurmountable odds and won, that should be celebrated. Our flag that represents this nation and its freedoms, that should be celebrated. Our Bill of Rights that just highlights the rights that God himself gave us, that certainly should be celebrated. Our Constitution that once again lays out the plan for the greatest nation on the planet, that should be celebrated. So why does the LGBT homosexual community get 30 days of celebration for nothing? They did nothing. Just by being homosexual is not worthy of celebration. It's an embarrassment. It's an absolute embarrassment to this nation and to this country. And I can't wait for good people to rise up and just say enough is enough. And we need to put a stop to this. From the White House to the house on Main Street, we, ladies and gentlemen, need to put a stop to this madness.
Thank you for joining us at Table Flippers. I truly appreciate you. You can write me at gwccrobert@gmail.com. That's gwccrobert@gmail.com. Please let me know how I'm doing. Remember to pick up some of our merchandise. You can find the link at gwcclancaster.org. That's gwcclancaster.org. Until next time, be continually blessed.
Chippy the Chipmunk loves Table Flippers.